provide us an insight into what you mean by addressing the idea of not just acid mine drainage, but mine wastewater in general?
I think what we're dealing with now is acid mine drainage, and it's a reactive approach. In other words, you're dealing with legacy issues, and it was because of many reasons that, you know, it wasn't addressed in the past. So now we're sitting with a legacy. You have to pump out acid mine drainage, and you have to treat the water at a cost. And you don't have mines because the mines have, you know, they've either depleted the resources and they disappeared from the scene. What I mean with mine water management is a much more proactive approach that we have to follow. So you have to look at new mining activities. If you look at the Vaal River system and even the Olifants River system, there are many new mines, upcoming mines, and they're coming up like mushrooms. And if you don't deal with them like from day one, when they apply for mining rights from the Department of Mineral Resources, and you deal with the mine or the water issues, you're going to sit with exactly the same challenge that we are sitting now because of what happened in the past. And that's the idea, to deal with mine water, because if you deal with mine water, you also include areas where there's not acid mine drainage but more saline water. Acid mine drainage is a term that we use for water with a very low pH. But you also have areas like in the Waterberg where you're not really going to have acid mine drainage, but you still have mine water that you have to deal with, and it's got a lot of salinity, which is salts, and you have to get rid of it before you can use it for whatever purpose. So the idea is to rather start from the word go and deal with the mining companies as they start their processes.
And tell us about the intervention mechanisms that the department is establishing and it already has in place to tackle the challenges that we face, particularly by acid mine drainage.
See, again, it's a reactive approach. And now you're looking for, you know, apportionment of liabilities. Who is liable for what happened 150 or 50 or 100 years ago? So you must get somebody that you can issue a directive, whatever, and that's the difficult part of it. That's why government had to intervene. So we didn't have a choice, although, you know, it's not only government's responsibility, it's something that, or mining that took place years ago before there was any legal requirements. And that's why there was an intervention from the government at the time. So the idea is now that because of all the new environmental laws and Department of Water Affairs with the new National Water Act, it's much easier to deal with the issues because you can, in a proactive manner, deal with the necessary actions.
And in terms of addressing this, in the acid mine drainage, you talk about desalination plants, you talk about recycling plants. You know, provide us some insight into what, you know, the particular basins, the Central, East and West Basin, the mechanisms that are going to be implemented there.
What we're doing in the Western, Central and Eastern Basin is more or less the same type of emergency measures, or let me rather call it short-term measures, is to drop the water level to a level where it is acceptable for the environment, because if you allow the water to rise above a certain level, you're going to interfere with the environment, and then you're going to have borers that's impacted, etc., etc. So you don't want that water table to rise to that level. So that's what we call the environmental critical level. So the idea is to pump the water, this acid mine drainage, and to partially treat it. In other words, you treat the water and discharge it into the river system. But that's a partial intervention. The long-term solution, and the long-term solution is 2018, 17, 18. That's where you remove all the saline water out of this system. So you take the partially treated water to a next level, a next step, where you remove all the salinities, in other words, in this case, the sulfates. And then you can use the water for any purpose. You can drink the water for that matter.